Alright, it's Might Redacted. The Elder Scrolls 4 is a game which keeps on giving. Even years after release, people are still discovering things about it and discussing various theories about it online. One such theory caught my eye. This theory is titled Baurus Betrayed the Emperor, and it was posted on Reddit recently. Could it be that this beloved character, this esteemed member of the Blades, could actually be a traitor? I'm slightly torn by this theory, as I really like Baurus' character, and I would usually give him a cheeky buff before the sewer and Great Gate missions so he wouldn't die. Today, we will be putting Baurus on trial for the crime of being a traitor. You are the jury. After you watch this video, please comment down below if you think he's innocent or if you think he's guilty. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Reddit user Salem1690s posted this theory on Reddit recently, so all credit for this theory/idea goes to them. As with all trials, we will begin with the prosecution's case before we move on to the defence. Salem1690s, who wrote the original Reddit post, will act as the chief prosecutor in absentia. Salem1690s begins this accusation by stating that after Baurus gives the player a key to exit the tutorial area, when doubling back and going to the gate which was apparently barred, as pointed out by the now deceased Glenroy, this Reddit user found that the gate was able to be opened by the key. I did test out this theory, but I could not open the gate from the side that was barred, but I could open it from the other side, and it could be argued that in real life, Baurus or Glenroy could have put their hand through and unlocked the supposedly barred gate like that very easily. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Baurus could have unlocked the gate with the key if he had wanted to. Salem1690 then points out that it's convenient that Baurus wants to stay with the Emperor's body after he's assassinated. He states that Baurus knows that the player is special. Baurus does even comment on that the player is obviously very capable in some way. If Baurus was really a traitor, he may think that it would be better to let the player go now, so that Baurus could continue to be a spy for another day. If Baurus were to fight the player at this point, he would know that he risks being murdered and have his shot at stealing the Amulet of Kings foiled. To add to the prosecution's case, I will also mention that Baurus does tell the player not to follow them after Captain Renault is murdered. This is despite the Emperor telling the player that they can travel out of the sewers with him. Perhaps this could be a story device which allows the player to be separated from the group and go and play the story tutorial without being helped by the Emperor and the Blades, or it could be a sign that Baurus knew the player could complicate the plans to assassinate the Emperor. Also, the question of how did the Mythic Dawn know that Joffrey had the Amulet of Kings at Wayne Priory comes to mind. To my knowledge, there's only 3 people who knew where the Amulet of Kings would be: Emperor Uriel Septim, who's dead, Joffrey, who I think is absolved of suspicion by the fact that he delivers Martin Septim to the Temple of One at the end of the game, and Baurus. The way I see it, unless there's some sort of master spy work going on in the background that we as the player are not privy to, then the only person who could have informed the Mythic Dawn as to where the amulet's whereabouts are is Baurus. Baurus had 3 reign of Cyrodiil and could easily have gone to his contact at the Mythic Dawn to inform them of where the Amulet of Kings was being kept at Wayne Priory. There were also some other interesting comments on the Reddit post too, which maybe you want to have a look at. Now that we've heard from the prosecution, it's time to move on to hearing what the defence has to say. First, I will cite Joffrey, the Grand Master of the Blades, as a character witness for Baurus. Joffrey has said that Baurus is fiercely loyal to the Blades and the Emperor. Joffrey even states that Baurus will be taking the death of the Emperor especially hard. It's notable that Joffrey says that Baurus is going to be taking the death of the Emperor especially hard, as all of the members of the Blades would surely be taking the death of the Emperor very hard. It's their job to protect the Emperor, and they've obviously messed up. It's not just another day at the office where you don't do any work. The guy that pays your bills has died, and there's no heir. No heir that they knew of at the time, at least. To add to this, there's also no character development or material evidence which could call Baurus' loyalty into question. There's no notes which are left open to interpretation. There's no dialogue which could mean that Baurus is a traitor if you read into it or look into some of the comments. absolutely nothing. The only thing that we're going off of here is a few of Baurus's actions and maybe some things which the defense would like to call a coincidence. And if Baurus was going to inform the Mythic Dawn that the player had the Amulet of Kings, wouldn't it be better to set up an ambush on the player when they were travelling along the road alone and without fortification, instead of the Mythic Dawn attacking Waning Priory, which is both close to a city full of guards and has multiple people there who would definitely resist the Mythic Dawn's attack. Baurus is also willing to fight to the death against the Mythic Dawn on multiple occasions. I know that many of the Mythic Dawn do die for their cause, saying something like, "I do not fear death," but this is due to them being promised a place in paradise, like an afterlife. And if Baurus dies, he is not present in paradise when the player goes there later on in the game. Spoilers. Although this accusation against Baurus is interesting and may make for a good mod if someone wants to make that, I believe that Baurus is not guilty, but ultimately I'm going to leave the verdict up to those in the comments section. It's up to you. If you find Baurus guilty, he will be executed. It's really cool that people are making theories for their game, which is now going to be 18 years old in 2025. But anyway, let me know in the comments section below what you think. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe for more content like this.